Hi, everybody, welcome back. So in this video,
It really wasn't a lot of negative attention until I decided to leave her in 1996. I remember Halle saying to me, hey, she asked me to marry her after knowing me for 5 months. So I'm looking at my mom, and I'm a Midwest guy. So in my mind, I'm thinking a wife at that time should cook, clean,
Traditional.
and then I'm thinking, okay, if we have kids, is this the woman I want to have kids with and build a family with? And at that time, as a young guy, she don't cook, don't clean, don't really seem like motherly. And then we start having issues.
yeah, now this has got a lot of people coming for him because they're like, why now? Why would you choose to say these things about her at this point in time in your life? Like, you're old, you got married, you had the kids, and so move on from there. You could have said something and kept it polite, kept it mindful, kept it demure, but you didn't. You had to let the whole world know, oh, she proposed to me. Oh, she wouldn't cook and clean. She wasn't motherly enough. It's given, you want the whole world to know that you were with her, and people are not really buying it. Okay, married somebody called Rebecca Villalobos. They have kids together and so on. I don't know how I'll feel if I were his wife watching this. Like, why are you still talking about her? It sounds like at every party you remind everybody, oh, I used to date Halle. Like every opportunity you get, you want to remind everybody, oh, I used to be with her. You know that lady? I was married to her. Oh, so what happened? Oh, she wasn't motherly enough, just to make yourself feel good. Please, it's getting old. Like you. Let it go.
If Halle Berry is your wife, why are you trying to make her maternal? Like, why are you trying to make her cook and clean? That's not what Halle Berries are for, okay? Halle Berries are for looking hot. Halle Berries are for you to be able to say, like, hey, my wife is Halle Berry. For her to, like, take you places that you might not have ever been able to go to if you weren't with Halle Berry. Why are you trying to make her clean your floors? Why do you want the first black woman to ever win an Academy Award for Best Actress to wash your drawers? Why do you want the first black woman to ever make $20 million in a movie to pack your lunch? Oh, wait. Oh, no, don't go nowhere. I know what you are. Because why do you equate being a wife and being a mother to being able to cook and clean? Nigga, you cook and clean. It's Halle Berry. When I come home, if I'm Halle Berry, nigga, my drawers need to be folded, okay? I need a fresh meal on the table. But also, he was in the MLB, so why are either of us cooking or cleaning? Like, nigga, why are you making me the maid if we can afford one? I know why.
Imagine being married to Halle Berry. That Halle Berry, and saying you divorced her because she didn't cook or clean. The Halle Berry. Mind you, you're married to Halle Berry from 93 to 97, and in that span, she filmed 10 movies. But yes, why isn't she cooking? Why isn't she clean? Not to mention, you, the person married to Halle Berry, make a lot of money playing baseball. You can pay someone to cook and clean for both of you. It's not that Halle didn't love him enough, didn't give him enough kisses, wasn't around, worked too much, didn't stimulate him intellectually. She did not cook and she did not clean. And that's the issue David Justice had. Wow.
Hey everybody, the David Justice interviews had made me want to come outside. Because sometimes, ladies, we got to come outside and have a little chat. You mean to tell me, first of all, nobody was even checking for David Justice. We didn't know who he was before Halle Berry married him. We haven't known who he was all these years. Yeah, he has some success in baseball, but we don't know him like that. Really, the community at large, right? It's interesting that he didn't do the interview about his current wife, right? Nobody would be paying attention had he done the interview about his current wife. He just had to tell everybody how he fumbled the bag. You mean you had one of the most beautiful women of her generation married, and you couldn't understand your purpose, and you were tripping about some food and some cleaning? You didn't know how to hire a chef and a cleaning lady? I'm not understanding this. I'm not understanding this. See, the Bible talks about he who finds a wife finds a good thing, obtains favor from the Lord. You have to find her. You have to know her purpose. You have to know your purpose. Now he spends the rest of his life telling, oh, I was married to Halle Berry stories. That's the greatest thing of his life that he ever accomplished. Oh, I married Halle Berry. Oh, she wanted to marry me. Oh, we're all shocked. And he thinks this is a good look, really? I feel sorry for his current wife that has to spend the rest of his life married to a man that keeps looking backwards at the best thing he ever had. That he fumbled. Just my thoughts.
I used to have more respect for David Justice because he got married and went off into obscurity and lived his life. But apparently he's upset about that. He's upset that people aren't paying attention to him, right? This is him and Halle Berry, because he's saying that Halle Berry proposed to him, and I do believe him. But sir, you had no problem with her proposing to you because you accepted and you went to all of her red carpet events, because you didn't have the accomplishments to be there on your own. And now here you are talking about her, saying, well, I didn't think she was good enough to be the mother of my children. Meanwhile, she didn't even have children by Eric Benet. Both of her children are by white men. Sir, she was with you for 5 years. She intentionally did not get pregnant. It's her who didn't choose you. When men hit the wall, when they get that figure where their gut enters the room before the rest of their body does, they begin to relive their glory days. He's a very bitter man.
Oh, hey, she asked me to marry her after knowing me for 5 months.
Not David Justice trying to look for relevance again. I was around in the 90s when they were the hot couple of the moment, and it was like crazy. 30 years later, and he still got her name in his mouth. Halle Berry, I hope you see this, and I hope you give him a massive clap back or ignore him. Either one would be perfect. The 90s were a different time for women. The goal was to be with a man. That was the end goal. No matter how famous or how beautiful you were, you had to make your relationship work to be seen as like worthy. Thank God that is changing now. I am so grateful for TikTok. But it looks like David Justice is still stuck in the 90s. Way back in the past.
I'm looking at my mom, and a wife at that time should cook, clean, traditional. And then I'm thinking, okay, if we have kids, is this the woman I want to have kids with and build a family with? And at that time, as a young guy, she don't cook, don't clean, don't really seem like motherly. And then we started having issues. Listen, we never had that.
Hey guys, it's your betrayed godmother, and I'm back with my last bit for the evening. So you saw that clip. David Justice was on the podcast All the Smoke, I believe, and he was talking about not just Halle Berry, but many of his previous relationships. So for a lot of you in TikTok world who may not be old enough to even have known who David Justice is or his relationship to Halle Berry, but in the mid-90s, him and Halle Berry were like an item, right? He is a former MLB guy. I don't remember specifically what team he's on, but basically he linked up with Halle Berry just as her star was really starting to rise. So she had already done like Boomerang. She was more in the Black shows and movies than she was like on the crossover like mainstream, but she was starting to get there, right? So in 1993 she was like a hot commodity in the movie industry, specifically more for like Black movies, but whatever, I digress. Anyway, there's a lot to unpack with that clip. One, I would say this, I did watch that clip more in totality, and I will say that the hot take of her not being motherly, he does clarify that, so I'm not going to harp on the problematic nature of that to begin with, but I am going to say a couple of things. One, if I am 20 plus years removed from my relationship with my ex-husband and I'm still dragging his name through the mud or overly examining what had happened that's wildly problematic. Now, we don't know, because you only see this one clip that came from a clip that I watched earlier. I have not watched the podcast in totality. I'm hoping that he kind of talks more about his relationships in general and wasn't just solely focused on the Halle-David dynamic, because that's just kind of weird. So in that clip that has gone really viral, where people are just taking that one thing he said, they're like, oh, she doesn't cook, she doesn't clean. The reason I bring that up, and he mentions too, right? So to his credit, he does say that he came in with a very unrealistic expectation because he only understood the idea of a wife from the perspective of seeing his mother when he was growing up. And so his mother, I guess, either stayed at home and she was a cook and the cleaning along with the job, whatever. The point was, like, she did more of the traditional domestic roles that we typically tend to assign to women and wives and in relationships. He admits fully that that's a very unrealistic take when the person you were coupled up with is somebody who is living a life that is not the standard, it's not the norm. We're not all movie stars. We're not all, as much as we all might love to be on social media and convince ourselves that we're like main character. somebody who's and especially at that point in her career, and she still is a big deal now, but at that point in her career, she was really taking off. So she's traveling, she's shooting movies, she's doing all these things. The expectation that she's going to be home cooking and cleaning, and then because you don't see her cooking and cleaning, you assume that she's not motherly, speaks to his poor judgment at the time. To his credit, he does end up saying like, oh no, now looking back, I was being unrealistic at my expectations. And the reason I bring this up is not just to talk and punch down on David Justice, but to bring up the idea of unrealistic expectations, right? So it is very unrealistic. If you meet somebody and you realize that they're living a certain lifestyle in a certain manner, to then expect for them to do a 180 and switch it out just because they're with you. However you meet somebody and how they present themselves at that time is exactly who they are as a person, who they're always going to be. It should be the baseline that you believe them to be, right? So it's like, there are some celebrities like Cardi B who will sit there and make arroz con pollo in the middle of the night because she just wants to, or she's going to clean her house at Fabuloso because that's what she knows and that's what she likes to do. But not everybody's going to want to do that, right? And even for us normal people who are not living the lifestyle of the rich and famous, it's the same thing. If you see somebody that they're like, oh, I don't cook, you should not automatically assume that once they get linked up with you, they're going to suddenly become a domestic. If you see somebody who, for example, like somebody like myself, I travel a lot, right? Now, a lot of times when I'm traveling, I'm getting comped by brands, etc. But the point still is, I travel a lot. I get brands that send me stuff often because of my writing work that I do. So I have a lot of things, right? That in theory, they're quite expensive. But for somebody to come to me and be like, oh, I can't believe that you travel here and there, you're in Tokyo, you're in Korea, you're flying business class, blah, 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 blah. I thought that you wanted a simple life. Like, everybody's version of simple is different. And it reminds me very much of the saying, like, find somebody who's within your expectations and within your means. Do not link up with somebody who is a 180 from what you want, but then you want to try and change them to fit some wild narrative that you have in your mind. However, your parents chose to behave with each other or present themselves as husbands, wives, and parents is not what you should be expecting from your life partner, because your life partner is not your parents. They are their own person. And that's something that I find across genders that we tend to have happening, where people will sit there and have these wild expectations. They will meet somebody who's A, but then be like, but I really like B. Maybe I can get them to turn into B. They're not going to turn into B. They're always going to be A. So you need to date within your expectations, date within your budget, date within your expectations for life roles and life partners, so that you don't end up disappointed and you don't end up on a podcast 20 years later talking about what had happened was in your relationships. And one last thing I wanted to bring up, which is kind of the elephant in the room. There was a portion of the podcast clip, even that I pulled from, where he's talking about, there were these abuse allegations. So for those of us who remember, this couple, they were a dramatic couple, unfortunately. This was them, like, in their peak moments when they were together. Cute couple, by the way. And basically, Justice's beef with Halle Berry and the ending of their marriage is that he essentially claims that she had been physically abused by somebody else, and that he said that she claimed that he did it. And so he's saying, oh, I never did it. And at the time, I remember there was this whole thing that she got beaten so bad she lost hearing, and she has pretty much made it clear that it was him. At least back in the day, she was saying that thing. I remember there was like a Lifetime TV special that they used to have, like this series that came on in the evening called like something about like Extraordinary Women or something like that. And she 100% talks about the fact that that man put hands on her. And even here, you see that it says that she filed a restraining order against him. So I believe it was actually granted, and you do not get to have restraining orders granted without having evidence there. So, I don't know. But just putting that out there as a reference for other things that he talked about in that podcast.
This just in. Okay, let me see if I understand this correctly. This dude divorced Halle Berry. Yes, the Halle Berry, because he said she didn't cook, clean, or seem motherly. What? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, I want to know, did he run this divorce decision by any of his guy friends? Or forget the guys, did he run it past any of the women in his life? Mother, aunt, sister, cousin? Did he run it past the church? Did he run it past the cashier at the local grocery store? Like, I'm thinking about divorcing Halle Berry because she doesn't cook or clean. What did you just say? Are you dumb? It doesn't even make any sense. I'm mad that none of his guy friends tried to talk any sense into him. Unless he's got those guy friends who are plotting on the demise of that relationship. They're like, yeah, you should go ahead and divorce her. That ain't right. You deserve better. And then these same fools will show up to her doorstep the next day with a bottle of wine and roses like, I can't believe he divorced you. If you were my girl, I would have never let you go. You got to watch out when you have an attractive significant other, because you got some of those friends sometimes who will try and plot and scheme so that they can swoop in. I've seen it. And some people, they actually assist in the destruction of their own relationship by giving their significant other's number to their friends. And then they wonder, I can't believe my best friend and my boyfriend or girlfriend just cheated on me. You gave them the number. You let them, hey, get a little closer. Don't be shy. Hell no. Listen, if you need to get in contact with me and you call my number and I don't answer, I'm busy. If you send me a DM and I don't answer, I'm busy. You don't need to call my girlfriend or wife to, is Steve around? Hell no. Don't worry about it. I'm busy. And I can't even fix my mouth to say, hey, let me get your girlfriend or wife's number in case I need to reach you. Get the fuck out of here. What? No. Some people, you just insecure, Steve. No. You can call me insecure all you want. I'm using common sense here. Anyway, back to this situation. I'm trying to figure out, because this guy was a baseball player. She's an actress. They were a power couple. She doesn't cook or clean. She's Halle Berry. Y'all have money. You could hire a personal chef to make you healthy meals, a housekeeper to keep the house clean so that you can enjoy those healthy meals in a clean environment. And she's got 2 kids now. She seems pretty motherly to me, so she would have been motherly back then too. What are you talking about? Now, some people be like, yo, why is Steve so passionate about this? Man, I had a huge crush on Halle Berry back in the day. Ever since I saw her in the movie Strictly Business, I was like, damn, who is that? And this dude had her and tossed her away because she couldn't pick up a mop or cook a tuna casserole. Are you serious? Come on, man. What? Oh, my God.
To be honest, I didn't know him. I didn't know anything about him. I had to go and Google him. And I found out that he was a baseball player. Yeah, so he's the one that caused her deafness in one ear, right? So it kind of makes sense to me why he would want to redeem himself, quote unquote, by slandering her or slating her a bit. She wouldn't cook and clean for me, and that's why I left her. And he denied the accusation. Now, this reminds me of all them boyfriends that we used to have that didn't go so well. We end up breaking up. They see you doing well and they still want to be attached to you somehow. Oh, do you see that woman? Yeah, I used to be with her. That's my ex. No, you're not my ex. 30 years ago, you're not my ex. I don't know you. It ended when it ended. I was so young. You don't know this version of me. You're not my ex. I don't know you. But instead, no, I know you. I used to talk to you. No, you don't know me. I don't have your phone number. We never met. How about that? Yeah, but you proposed to me. Did I? Did I? Did you say that to make yourself feel good about yourself? Did I propose to you? Did I propose to you? Are you sure? Like, really? I don't like guys like that. I'm sorry. Like, it's over. Keep it pushing. This whole, oh, she used to love me so much. She was crazy about me. She said she couldn't do any better than me, and so on and so forth. And now we are no longer together because I left her. I left her because she wasn't good enough for me. So why are you talking about her? Talk about the good enough women you ended up with. We'd like to know about that. Whatever happened, happened. So when you're asked about your ex, it's like, yeah, whatever happened, happened. It was what it was. And yeah, she's not here to defend herself. I hear that a lot on the Pop the Balloon show. And I really like that take. Like, she's not here to defend herself. So I'm going to not say anything about that. How about that? Okay, be matured about it. Be respectful with it. Some women do that from time to time. Oh, I used to date this famous athlete. I used to date this. It's done. It's over. Let it go. Okay? Let it go. Move on with your life. That shouldn't be your whole identity. And when people ask you about them, keep it simple. Keep it mindful. If it was a public relationship, keep it simple. Keep it cute. Keep it casual. And keep it pushing. Okay? There's no need for you to go out there and slate them. And it's like, nah, there's no need for it. Let it go. Okay, I'm going to leave it here. See you again in the next video. Take care of yourselves and one another. Bye.